Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today we are diving into something absolutely fascinating, the invisible architecture of the 2030s. We're talking about the transition from 5G to 6G. And look, we aren't just talking about getting faster smartphones here, right? We are talking about a network that's literally going to seamlessly fuse our physical, digital, and biological worlds together. I am super thrilled to guide you through this because the foundation for our entire future is, well, it's being laid right now. So here is our roadmap for today. We're going to start with the underlying tech of the 6G intelligence revolution, compare 5G to 6G, explore an AI-native network, look at the hyper-connected society, dive into security and privacy, and finally, weigh collaboration against centralized control. Let's get into it. All right, starting things off with Section 1, the 6G intelligence revolution. We're beginning with a sweeping vision of this next decade, where the Earth itself is basically blanketed in a unified, intelligent communication grid. The operative word for 6G is unified. We really have to stop thinking about just regular old cell towers. 6G flawlessly integrates terrestrial infrastructure with satellites way up in space and even high-altitude drones. It brings immense computing power to the most remote corners of the planet, which is huge because it effectively closes the digital divide and creates a profoundly digitized society, literally everywhere. You know, this isn't just a quick software update to your current phone plan. It's an entirely new physical paradigm. Moving into these terahertz bands requires completely new semiconductor materials, and it also relies heavily on distributed edge computing. All that means is the actual brain of the network lives right down your street now, rather than sitting in some massive server farm hundreds of miles away. Moving right along to Section 2, 5G versus 6G. To truly wrap our heads around the magnitude of this revolution, we need to compare it directly to what we're using today. The contrast is honestly staggering. While 5G operates in gigahertz, 6G leaps into terahertz frequencies. But honestly, the real game changer here is the architecture. 5G kind of treats AI like a tool you pull out of a toolbox when you need it. 6G, on the other hand, is built with AI native to its very DNA. It's literally the nervous system of the entire network. To put this massive upgrade into perspective, 1 terabyte per second. Just think about that. That is roughly 100 times faster than 5G. Imagine downloading an entire library of 4K movies, or transferring the massive data sets required to render a hyper-realistic virtual city in the literal blink of an eye. But hey, speed is only half the story, right? Responsiveness is the other half, 0.1 milliseconds. That is the targeted latency for 6G. That is less than 1/10,000th of a second. This makes near instantaneous remote control a total reality. Think about it. It's the difference between a remote surgeon experiencing a slight, dangerous delay and a surgical robot moving exactly when the doctor's hand moves, perfectly, flawlessly in sync. Okay, let's jump into Section 3, an AI-native network. Because we really have to ask, how on earth do you manage a network moving at terabit speeds with practically zero delay? Well, the answer is pervasive intelligence. 6G operates with this total AI-first mindset. The network is essentially self-aware. It actively predicts traffic surges, routes resources on the fly, and even self-heals without a human engineer ever needing to lift a single finger. And this AI integration enables some seriously mind-blowing new hardware, like reconfigurable intelligent surfaces, or RIS. So terahertz signals are incredibly fast, but they don't actually travel very far and they're super easily blocked. RIS turns the physical environment itself into a programmable network element. Just imagine the walls of buildings coated in smart materials that actively bend and guide these invisible terahertz signals exactly where they need to go, wrapping right around corners to make sure you literally never lose connection. Now, running AI at this immense scale introduces a massive hurdle: energy consumption. 6G requires a total end-to-end sustainability overhaul. If we don't build ultra-efficient hardware, meaning putting AI accelerators directly into the chips to minimize power drain, this entire technological leap just simply won't be ecologically viable. Which brings us to Section 4, the hyper-connected society. With this solid foundation of ultra-fast, intelligent, and sustainable tech laid out, what does this actually look like for our day-to-day lives? Welcome to massive communication. We are talking about connecting over 10 million devices in a single square kilometer. Every car, every traffic light, every factory arm and home appliance talking to each other completely autonomously to do things like eliminate traffic jams and optimize our power grids in real time. And that naturally leads us to the concept of the digital twin. Because we can connect so many sensors with zero delay, we can create perfect, real-time virtual replicas of physical entities. We can simulate an entire city's traffic grid, a patient's biological data, or a complex manufacturing plant as it's running. This lets us remotely monitor everything, instantly detect problems, and safely test optimizations in the digital world before we ever apply them to the real one. The real-world applications here are straight out of a sci-fi novel. Forget about choppy, lagging video calls. We're talking about true holographic telepresence, where you interact with a real 3D projection of your colleague. Add to that autonomous drone swarms coordinating up in the sky, and immersive extended reality blending perfectly with your physical living room. But as we marvel at all these incredible capabilities, we really have to pause and ask a tough question. What happens to our fundamental privacy when our homes, our cities, and even our own biological data are continuously digitized and analyzed? This sheer volume of data generation is an absolutely profound societal risk. And that brings us directly to Section 5, Security, Privacy, and Trust. We really must explore the profound perils of a hyper-connected world. What is, frankly, pretty alarming is the expanding threat vector. The very AI that makes 6G so magical, it also arms cybercriminals. We are entering an era of machine speed warfare, where malicious AI is used to actively attack network AI. And because computing is being pushed out to millions of local edge devices, hackers suddenly have millions of new unlocked doors to try and pry open. So, to build trust, 6G must heavily rely on advanced, privacy-preserving technologies, things like homomorphic encryption, multi-party computation, quantum-safe security, and especially federated learning. Federated learning is so cool because it allows the network's AI to learn from the data on your phone locally, improving the overall system without ever actually extracting or centralizing your sensitive personal data. This demands a massive, fundamental, philosophical shift in cybersecurity. In the 5G era, we essentially built walls to protect the perimeter. But 6G requires zero trust. The network literally assumes the threat is already inside, using hardware anchors and blockchain-like distributed ledgers to continuously verify identity microsecond by microsecond. Finally, let's look at Section 6, Collaboration or Centralized Control. Because beyond the technical hurdles, we really have to look at who actually builds and governs this invisible architecture. The geopolitical landscape right now is incredibly fractured. We face a serious structural threat where competing global blocs like the US, China, and Europe might fail to agree on common spectrums and security standards. And this risks creating incompatible, parallel 6G networks. It's essentially a technological Cold War that could fundamentally threaten global international communication. So as we wrap up and look toward the 2030s, we're left with a truly pivotal question. Will this hyper-connected web empower us, serving as a tool for unprecedented human advancement and collaboration, or will its native intelligence trap us, becoming an instrument for centralized control and dependency? The blueprint for 6G is literally being drawn right now, and the choices we make today will absolutely dictate that answer. Thanks so much for joining me to explore the invisible architecture of our future.